All right, guys. Hope y'all can hear me. Welcome into 4th and 25 with J Ram. Hope you're having a wonderful afternoon. Hope you're enjoying yourself. Hope you're having a good day. Um, well, it's that time of year. The holidays are coming. College football postseason is set. The playoff is set. The bowls are set. And we got a bunch of people bitching and complaining. No shock. Hold on. Yeah, needed some coffee. All right. So, welcome in the 4th and 25 with J Ram. We got a loaded show today, so let's get to work. We're going to start with our normal routine. It is our weekend review. All right, welcome back. All right, so let's get rolling with our weekend review. So, first things first, we're going to dive in. Let's talk about what happened over the weekend with the conference championship games. Starting with Friday night, this past Friday night, we had the Conference USA Championship. Shout out to the Kennesaw State Owls, 19-15 over Jacksonville State. Coach Mack, his first year there, and he just wins 10 games and wins the conference. Second year in the league, and they're already conference champions. They finished 10-3. Got a really good bowl matchup. They'll play Western Michigan in the Myrtle Beach Bowl. So let's do a quick couple of things. Quarterback Amari Odom throws for 246 and a touchdown. Defensive lineman Elijah Hill got 2 sacks. Third downs, Kennesaw State was 6 of 11. Jacksonville State struggled at 3 of 11. And then in the air game, Kennesaw State outpassed them 246-96, which Jacksonville State's a run first team. But Jacksonville State had 7 penalties in the ball game. And then Kennesaw State scores the winning touchdown when Odom hits Neville Dean for an 11-yard score with 51 seconds left to seal the win. And the Owls are Conference USA champions. Congratulations to these guys. That's awesome. Second year in the league, and they're already conference champions. So shout out to Kennesaw State. Congratulations. All right. And then Friday, continuing on the Friday games, we had the Sun Belt Championship game, and your champions, of course, the Dukes of James Madison. They have been a big story over the weekend. You probably know why, but more on that later. James Madison defeated Troy 31-14 to win the Sun Belt Championship. Shout out to the Dukes. Their coach Bob Chesney, of course, is headed to UCLA, but he will coach them in the upcoming playoff. And they got their new coach, Sun Belt Billy Napier. But anyway, James Madison. How about Wayne Knight, their running back, 212 yards on the ground, averaged 10.1 yards per carry, a touchdown, 2 catches. Defensive lineman Shahir West. What a game for this young man. 10 total tackles, 5 solos, 3 sacks, 2.5 tackles for loss. James Madison's defense was incredible. It's been incredible all season. They outgained Troy 411 to 177. That's insane. Really good defense. 8 sacks total by the Dukes. James Madison, 8 sacks, 14 tackles for loss as a team. And plus, Troy was held to minus 26 yards rushing. But when you sack the quarterback 8 times, what do you expect? They outrushed them 318 to negative 26. That was the final rushing yards count. But anyway, shout out to James Madison. They are going to the college football playoff. They will play Oregon in the first round, but they are your Sun Belt Conference champions. So congratulations to the Dukes. Okay. Also Friday night, we had the American Athletic Championship game as North Texas faced off against Tulane. Trying to find my graphic real quick. I've got so many graphics over here. All right, here we go. Tulane 34, North Texas 21. John Summerall finishes the regular season at 11-2. American champions. They also are going to the playoff. They will face Ole Miss in the first round. Great game for Tulane. Let me pull my stats up. I got a new book over here. All right, so Tulane running back Jameer McClure runs for 121, a score, 5.5 yards per carry. Defensive lineman Santana Hopper, 4 total tackles, 3 solos, 2 sacks. He had a really good game up front for Tulane's D line. Defense gets 5 sacks for the Green Wave and forces 5 turnovers. You force 5 turnovers, you're going to win football games. Time of possession, Tulane had the ball for 35 minutes and 8 seconds. North Texas 24-52. So North Texas wins. I mean, not North Texas. I'm sorry. Tulane wins the American 34-21. They are the champs of the AAC, and they are headed to the college football playoff. All right, final game of the Friday night slate, the Mountain West Championship. Boise State takes care of UNLV 38-21. Quarterback Madison had a really good game, going for 289 and 3 touchdown passes. Chase Perry, a talented receiver for the Broncos, 3 catches for 96. Linebacker Marco, I can't say that last name. They're Terini, I guess. 6 total tackles, a sack. Third downs, Boise State 10 of 16 on third downs. That's really, really good. UNLV 4 out of 14. Penalties, Boise was very disciplined with only 3 penalties. UNLV with 9. But the Broncos get it done 38-21 over UNLV. We'll see them Saturday night against Washington in the LA Bowl. UNLV is headed to the Scooters Coffee Frisco Bowl to take on the Ohio Bobcats. So shout out to Boise, your Mountain West champions. And I just completely screwed up and did not post the graphic. Sorry about that. Anyway, moving on to the Saturday games. We'll start with the MAC Championship. Western Michigan takes care of Miami, Ohio, 23-13 in Detroit. Jalen Buckley, 19 carries for 193 and 2 scores. Defensive end, Nadom Tucker, 6 total tackles. He had 2.5 sacks in this game, 3 tackles for loss. He was a big factor for the Broncos defense. Palmer Dush, the Western Michigan kicker, was accurate, 3 of 3 on field goals, long of 50, 2 of 2 on his extra points. He scored 11 of the Broncos' 23 points in this ball game. Western Michigan's defense had 4 sacks. They outrushed Miami, Ohio, 286-73. Total yards was 397-272 in favor of the Broncos, as well as time of possession, 35-17 to 24-43. Shout out to Western Michigan, your 2025 MAC champions. All right, now let's go to the Power 4 Conference Championship games. We'll start with the Big 12 Championship, and this was not much of a game. Texas Tech throttles BYU again, 34-7 in Arlington. Brahim Morton, the Texas Tech QB, 215, 2 scores. Coy Eakin, their talented receiver, caught 2 touchdowns. How about Ben Roberts, part of their really good linebacker trio? He had 2 interceptions. Texas Tech outgained BYU 374-200. Outrushed them 159-63, and BYU turned the football over 4 times. So Texas Tech's defense so good, D-line so good, linebacking core is phenomenal. Joey McGuire has done an incredible job getting this program to this level. But anyway, Texas Tech is your Big 12 champions. They are headed to the college football playoff with the first round bye. So shout out to the Red Raiders. All right, next up, let's do the ACC championship. The game that threw a wrench into the whole thing as far as the playoff goes. But hey, somebody had to win it. Duke 27, Virginia 20. This game went to overtime. Shout out to Duke. I know they lost 5 games, but hey, they're here. They were here. Darian Mensah goes for 196 and 2 scores through the air. Nate Shepard, 97 yards and a touchdown on the ground. Cooper Burkett had 5 catches for 91. Duke went for it 4 times on 4th down and got all 4 of them. 4 for 4. Perfect. Virginia, 2 costly turnovers. Duke kept the ball 34 minutes and 24 seconds. Virginia for 25 minutes and 36 seconds. But hey, Duke got it done. You know, say what you want. But they got here by the stupid ACC tiebreakers. But Duke is your ACC champions. Final score 27-20. Duke will be headed to the Sun Bowl. Yeah, they'll be headed to the Sun Bowl to play Arizona State. So, congratulations to them. All right, finally, we got 2 more, and I think y'all know what 2 it is. We're going to start with the SEC Championship. Georgia 28, Alabama 7. Georgia just gave the boot to Alabama here. Gunnar Stockton goes for 156, 3 touchdowns. Ja'Cory Thomas played good on defense, 6 total tackles, 4 solo, a sack, tackle for loss. Zachariah Branch and Dylan Bell caught a touchdown apiece. Third downs, Alabama struggled, 3 of 14. Georgia 6 of 16. Rushing yards. Georgia runs for 141. Alabama -3 yards. When's the last time Alabama had negative rushing yards in a football game? I could not begin to tell you. But Alabama -3 yards rushing in the SEC championship. That is unreal. Georgia kept the ball for 36-52 and Alabama for 23-08. But Georgia forced turnovers. Alabama looked terrible on offense. But Georgia gets it done. Final score 28-7. They're the SEC champions, and they will head to the playoff with a first round bye. All right, last game. It doesn't need no introduction. Y'all know what happened. Mr. Kurt Cignetti and the Indiana Hoosiers are your Big Ten champions. They took down Ohio State 13-10. Wonderful football game. This was a good game. This was so much fun to watch. What a game. Fernando Mendoza throws for 222 and a score. Gives an insane speech post-game, a really cool speech. Much respect to him. Charlie Becker had 6 catches for 126 for the Hoosiers. Isaiah Jones, 7 total tackles, 3 solos, 2 sacks. He was a force on defense, and 2 tackles for loss. Indiana's defense sacked Julian Sand 5 times. Nice job by the Hoosiers. Third down, Indiana 6-13, Ohio State 4-12. In the red zone, Ohio State had all kinds of trouble. Missed field goal, fell 4th downs, you name it. Ohio State struggled in the red zone. That was very strange to see. And then rushing yards, Indiana outrushed them 118-58. So Indiana is your Big Ten champions. Congratulations to Kurt Cignetti's team. They are headed to the college football playoff. They are the #1 overall seed, and they will be at the Rose Bowl. All right. So, with that said, coffee got cold. Yeah, sorry about that. Okay, moving on. Let's do our Players of the Week, Conference Championship Edition. We're going to start with offense. Let me pull it up on my phone. Sorry about that. Be a little easier for me to read because the screen is small. All right. Tulane running back Jamari McClure, 22 carries, 121 yards, and a touchdown for Tulane in the win over North Texas. We talked about James Madison, running back Wayne Knight, 21 carries, 212, and a touchdown. Boise State quarterback Maddox Madison, a really good game, 289 and 3 scores. He also had a rushing touchdown, so he had 4 total scores for the Broncos. Running back Jalen Buckley of Western Michigan, 19 carries for 193 and 2 touchdowns for Western Michigan in the MAC championship. And at the bottom, Cameron Peters, quarterback of Prairie View A&M, giving this young man a shout out in their win in the SWAC championship as they took down Jackson State. He goes for 294 and a score while running for 100 and another score. So finishing with 394 yards of offense and 2 touchdowns. Shout out to him as Prairie View wins the SWAC championship. All right, next up, let's do defense, of course. Defensive players of the week from championship weekend. We have Sahir West, the James Madison D lineman against Troy. He had 10 total tackles, 5 solos, 3 sacks, 5.5 tackles for loss. Tulane duo safety Jack Chichu, linebacker Chris Rogers, Chichenchu, 9 total tackles, 8 solos. He had a pick. Rogers had 7 total tackles, 4 solos, an interception, including a pick 6. Indiana's linebacker duo of Elijah Hardy and Isaiah Jones make the list. Hardy, 10 total tackles, 6 solos. He had a sack, 1.5 tackles for loss, and a pass deflected. And then Jones, 7 total tackles, 3 solo. He had 2 sacks in the game and 2 tackles for loss. Texas Tech linebacker trio, Jacob Rodriguez, best linebacker in the country in my wholehearted opinion. He had 13 total tackles, 4 solos, a tackle for loss. John Curry, 10 total tackles, 5 solo, tackle for loss, and a pass deflected. And we talked about Ben Roberts. He had 5 total tackles, 2 solos, pass deflected, and he had 2 interceptions for the Red Raiders. And finally, Nadine Tucker, defensive lineman at Western Michigan. He had 6 total tackles, 2 solo, and 2.5 sacks for Western Michigan, and 3 tackles for loss in their MAC championship win. And then finally, our special teams. Here they are. We've got punter Joshua Hoot of Kennesaw State, 4 punts, 40-yard average, 1 inside the 20, long of 45, in their win over Jacksonville State. Georgia's punter, Brett Thorson, 7 punts, 45.3 yard average, a touchback. 5 of them went inside the 20, long of 59. Duke punter, Cade Reynoldson, he had 4 punts, 46.5 yard average, 3 inside the 20, long of 47. Kicker Palmer Domsky, Western Michigan, 3 of 3 field goals, long of 50, 2 of 2 extra points, 11 points total for this young man. And then Ryan Milmore, also of Western Michigan, 4 punts, 44.5 yard average, touchback, 1 inside the 20, long of 54. All right, so that is your players of the week, Conference Championship Weekend edition. So, last but not least, let's get on rolling with J-Rams final top 25, shall we? Now, there ain't a whole lot of movement here, but there is some. So, just outside of my top 25 on my final rankings, I got Iowa, Tennessee, and Missouri. I did drop Tennessee out. All right, so here's J-Rams final top 25. Navy comes in at 25th. North Texas falls to 24th after the AAC championship loss. Houston comes in at 23rd. I got Georgia Tech 22nd. Arizona 21st. Tulane at 20th. I've got Michigan at 19. Virginia at 18. USC's at 17. I see James Madison at 16. I know that's probably a little crazy, but I think they're a good team, and I think they've earned a top 20 final ranking. Texas 15, you got Utah at 14, BYU 13. I dropped Bama to 12th after the loss to Georgia. I think they deserved it because they looked putrid, and they have not looked great the last few weeks of the season. So, and you see Vanderbilt's 11th. I do have Vandy just ahead of them. I know Bama beat Vandy, but right now I think Vandy's playing better. I think they earned it. Miami's 10th. I've got Oklahoma at 9th. I got the Crybabies of Notre Dame at 8. Texas A&M 7, Ole Miss is 6, Oregon is 5, Texas Tech is 4, Georgia 3, Ohio State drops to 2, and of course the number 1 team in the country, I don't think there's any debate, and that is the Indiana Hoosiers. So, all right, so that is a wrap on Conference Championship Weekend. Let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we are going to talk about the playoff, as the bracket is of course out, and we'll talk about some bowl games. Let's take a break, and we will see you here in a little bit. All right, guys, welcome back to 4th and 25 with J-Ram. Also, before we get into the college football playoff, we've also got the other lower level playoff games. Just an update for y'all. Let's start with the D3 playoffs. Let me find the bracket update for you. My apologies. Let me pull it. Okay. So, D3 playoffs this past weekend was, of course, the 3rd round. John Carroll upsets Mount Union 10-7. If you follow D3 football, Mount Union is the powerhouse. They are pretty much the it along with North Central. But anyway, John Carroll beats them in 2 overtimes, 10-7. Wheaton knocked out DePaul 49-24. John Hopkins knocked Salisbury out 45-13. Susquehanna beat Eastern 29-0. Berry beat Trinity 31-23. Wisconsin River Falls keeps rolling 42-14 over St. John's. There's North Central, the other power. They beat Wisconsin La Crosse 35-27. And Bethel, Minnesota beat Wisconsin Platte 35-24. So they move on. Now, let me find next week's schedule. Here it is. All right, so next week in the quarterfinals, we have Berry headed to John Carroll, Wisconsin River Falls headed to Wheaton, Bethel's headed to North Central, and then John Hopkins at Susquehanna. North Central, obviously the favorite to win this thing. All right, next up, let's do D2, shall we? Let's find D2. Here we go. All right, so D2 quarterfinals. Or no, yeah, quarterfinals. I'm sorry. Kutztown beat Frostburg 51-29. Ferris State beat Minnesota State 52-29. Newberry takes down number 1 seed Albany State 31-24. So one of the 1 seeds is out. And then Harding beat UT Permian Basin 34-28. Not really sure about those other 2 games, what's their affiliation with D2, but that's just what we got. Okay, so next week, semifinals. Here's what we got. D2 semifinals. We've got, I think should go hit the wrong one. There we go. Newberry at Ferris State. We've got Harding at Kutztown. 3 of the number 1 seeds are left. Newberry is the only one that is not a number 1 seed entering the playoffs. 3 undefeated teams. Kutztown's been playing really well. I think Kutztown and Ferris State would be a good bet, but any of those 4 can win the national championship. So, into it. All right, now let's take a look at what went down in the FCS playoffs over the weekend in college football. Let me pull my graphic back up. Okay, so second round of the FCS playoffs. Villanova knocks out Lehigh 14-7. Lehigh had a bye. South Dakota crushes Mercer 47-0. Mercer had a bye too. Notice this. This was the stunner. Illinois State 29, North Dakota State 28. That is unbelievable. The Redbirds go into the Fargo Dome and knock off the Bison. This game was 28-14 in the 4th quarter. Illinois State comes back and scores and goes for 2 and converts it. And they win it 29-28. Congratulations to Illinois State. That's awesome. Tarleton State knocks out North Dakota 31-13. Montana State had a fight on their hands against Yale, but they got it done 21-13. Montana knocks out South Dakota State 50-29. So we're about out of Dakota schools. What the heck? And Stephen F. Austin beat Abilene Christian 41-34. And also, let me pull it up. UC Davis knocked out Rhode Island 47-26. So, with that said, that means that, and I don't know where the graphic went, but oh well. Here's what we'll do then, I guess. Next week, quarterfinals. Friday is Stephen F. Austin at Montana State. That's an ESPN game, by the way, 7 o'clock my time, Central Time. That should be a great game, but Montana State's probably the favorite now to win this thing. Tarleton State against Villanova on Saturday. Also South Dakota at Montana, and Illinois State at UC Davis. That's your quarterfinals. Sorry, the graphic's not up there. All right, now let's get to the big playoff. Here it is. Here on 4th and 25, J Rams College Football Show. The college football playoff is out, and there are some angry people and there's some happy people, like you're going to have in any playoff. So here's your bracket. Indiana's the number 1 seed. Ohio State is 2. Georgia 3. Texas Tech is 4. First round, we've got 12 seed James Madison at 5 seed Oregon. One of the games that's got a lot of people upset. People are giving James Madison and the G5 a hard time. What do you expect? Winner plays Texas Tech in the quarterfinals at the Orange Bowl, which is kind of weird, but we'll get to that in a minute. 9 versus 8 is Alabama, Oklahoma. That is the Friday night game, December 19th. Winner will play Indiana at the Rose Bowl. So Alabama gets a chance to revenge that loss to Oklahoma a few weeks ago. The 11-6 matchup, as you see, is Tulane at Ole Miss. Rematch of a regular season game that Ole Miss won by 35 points, I believe. But let's see what the Rebels do with Pete Golding as the coach now. Ole Miss, Tulane, winner plays Georgia in the Sugar Bowl. Very good chance we might have an all-SEC Sugar Bowl, which sounds weird. And then finally, the 10-7 matchup, you have Miami and Texas A&M, which could be a really good game. And the winner will play Ohio State in the Cotton Bowl. So here's my thing. How did Ohio State get the Cotton Bowl and Texas Tech got the Orange? Wouldn't it make more sense to flip those? Because Texas Tech wouldn't have to travel far, and Ohio State knows the Orange Bowl really well. So kind of surprised they didn't go that route. Now, Georgia and Indiana, of course, are in their respective because of the bowl tie-ins, but I was surprised that Texas Tech didn't get the Cotton Bowl and Ohio State didn't get the Orange. They actually flipped it. But anyway, here's your playoff field. Obviously, Notre Dame was the big story getting left out. Miami got over them by the head-to-head tiebreaker, and Miami beat them. So if they're side by side, I get it. I'm not mad Miami's in. I mean, I hate it for the Notre Dame players, but what do you do? I mean, and you look at their schedule. They lost to the two best teams on their schedule, A&M and Miami. Now, the USC win was not bad, but Notre Dame gets left out. BYU loses the Big 12 championship and gets left out. Vandy, Texas, a couple other bubble teams that did not make it. But this is what we got. You can like it, you ain't gotta like it, you can complain. It's a free country. But this is what we got. I'm not gonna pick these games just yet because there's two I actually need to look at further before I go any further. But next week's show, we'll predict these games. Obviously, we'll pick the first round. So that is your college football playoff field, and we'll see what they do because they have until January to make a decision if they're going to change this thing, expand it, do whatever. I think after what happened to Notre Dame, they'll do something. We'll see what happens. But anyway, this is the college football playoff field. Looking forward to it. I'm going to be optimistic. So we'll see what happens, and let's roll. All right. So that's the college football playoff. We're going to take another quick break, and when we come back, I'm going to dive into head coaching changes. I'm going to give you just a quick rundown and thought on each of the Power 4 coaching changes. We'll do the G5 next week because we still got 3 G5 schools that don't even have head coaches, which is crazy to think. But anyway, all right, we'll be right back.
To hate Andrew Anderson spitting truth that just can't wait. Got a podcast like a punch right to your face. College sports villain taking it over the place. I bring the facts whether you like it or not. Dropping truth bombs, giving it all I got. They call me a villain. Well, I wear that badge with pride. Nothing but secrets they try to hide. Hard rock in my veins, rebellious to the core. I won't back down, won't take it anymore. The bad guy of the podcast world, that's me. Unleashing the truth, setting it all free. Unleashing the truth.
All right, guys, welcome back to 4th and 25 with J-Ram. All right, so our next segment, we're going to dive in and talk about head coaching changes. These are just the Power 4 schools. We're going to do the G5 next week because we're still waiting on 3 G5 schools to announce their coaches. Coastal Carolina, Southern Mississippi, and Washington State. Neither one of them still have a coach yet. So anyway, we're going to run through these on the Power 4 level. All right, Oklahoma State. Here is the new head coach of your Oklahoma State Cowboys. Eric Morris is coming in. Mike Gundy, of course, was fired back in September after 21 years in which he was 170 and 90, had 9 top 20 finishes in a 13-year span. But the program was regressing. They went 3-9 last year, ended up 1-11 this year. Of course, most of that he was already gone. But it was time for a change in Stillwater. Eric Morris is the new man. He comes in after a very good run at North Texas and Incarnate Word. At Incarnate Word from 2018 through 2021, he was 24-18, 20-11 in the conference that they played in. 2 FCS playoff appearances. He was Washington State's OC in 2022. And then in 2023 through this year, he was the head coach at North Texas. He's done a really good job with that program. This year, of course, they had a phenomenal season, going 11-2, making the AAC championship. I think they're going to play San Diego State in the New Mexico Bowl. He went 22-16 at North Texas, 13-11 in the league, 2 bowl appearances. Is his total head coaching record with UNT and UIC or UIW, 46-34. He is a phenomenal offensive guru. Has coached good quarterbacks. This year, North Texas, the number 1 offense in the country under him. And he has Big 12 experience. He was an OC at Texas Tech from 2014 through 2017, and he was also a grad assistant at Houston in 2010 and 2011. Um, I actually like this hire. I think he's a good fit there. I'll be interested to see where it goes. I'm not going to predict these because none of us know how these are going to turn out. I've tried that in the past and I failed miserably. But I like this hire. Oklahoma State fans, I think, are pretty excited. So, Eric Morris, I think this is a good hire on Oklahoma State's part. So, tip of the hat to the Cowboys. All right, our next head coach. Let's go to one that just recently happened. Iowa State. In comes Jimmy Rogers. Matt Campbell, of course, just left back on the 5th of this month. He took off to take the Penn State job. Congrats to him. We'll get to that in a little while. Jimmy Rogers comes in. This man at South Dakota State in 2023 and 2024, phenomenal run. 27-3, 15-1 in the Missouri Valley. Of course, 2023 national champion at the FCS level with the Jackrabbits. Last year, he was at Washington State as the head coach. Finishes 6-6, gets him a bowl trip, but won't coach their bowl game. They're obviously some pretty angry fans at Wazoo right now. But really good coach, winning pedigree. Obviously, he knows the Midwest well from his time at South Dakota. I think he's from South Dakota. Don't hold me to that, but knows the region really, really well. And I think he's a good fit, but we'll see how it goes. But Iowa State, of course, says goodbye to Matt Campbell and hello to the Jimmy Rogers era. Could be a little bit of a rebuild at Iowa State right now because Lord knows how many players might go with Matt Campbell to Penn State, but we'll see. But anyway, this is your new head coach at Iowa State, Jimmy Rogers. Okay, keeping it in the Big 12, we got one more. Kansas State, your new head coach is Colin Klein. Obviously, Chris Klieman announced his retirement a few days ago, back in the 3rd of this month. He announced his retirement. Don't know what's going on there. It sounds like he may not like the landscape with NIL and everything, so maybe he just had enough of it. But that's just hearsay. I could be wrong on that. But anyway, here comes Colin Klein, the Texas A&M offensive coordinator the last couple of years. But he's obviously a well-known legend as a head coach. I mean, he's a player at Kansas State. I'm sorry, as a player. He was a great quarterback for the Wildcats. He played at K-State from 2008 through 2012. He was a grad assistant there for 2014 and 15. He was a quarterbacks coach at Northern Iowa for 2016. Then he came back to Kansas State in 2017 through 2023 as the quarterbacks coach. And then in 2024 and then this past season, he was the OC and quarterbacks coach for Texas A&M. Did a great job down there at Aggieland. Having played there, he's built up relationships with administrators, donors. A lot of people, of course, know him from his time there playing there. He brings a fresh perspective to the program, continuality, and familiarity with the area and the program. So, first-time head coaches, I know you tend to be a little more iffy on that. I'm iffy, but if there's a guy who can do it, I think this is the cat to do it for K-State because he obviously knows it really well. So, it's the Colin Klein era at Kansas State. All right, let's keep on rolling. That's the Big 12's coaches. Let's do the ACC now. We'll start out on the West Coast. Stanford. Tavita Pritchard is the new head coach of the Stanford Cardinal. Frank Reich was the interim coach this past season, taking Stanford to a 4-8 season in which they beat Florida State and Cal. If you beat your arch rival Cal, that's a good thing. But he was just the interim coach. The previous coach was fired in the spring for some stuff. I really don't remember that situation too well. But in comes Tavita Pritchard. He's the quarterbacks coach for the Washington Commanders. He knows Stanford really well. He played quarterback there from 2006 through 2009. Was a grad assistant, running backs coach, quarterbacks, receivers, offensive coordinator from 2010 through 2012. He held different positions at Stanford all those years. And then he was the Commanders' quarterback coach for 2023 through this season. Now, he's a first-time head coach. Also, the general manager of Stanford football, obviously. Oh, sorry, I had a comment. I was just making sure I wasn't missing something. All right. He's a first-time head coach also, but he knows and understands this program really well. Haven't played there. But the general manager, Andrew Luck, legendary Stanford quarterback, he's bringing in someone he knows really well and trusts, a friend. This is a tough program to win at and sell at now in the NIL era, but it's a tough job. But we'll see how this one goes. This is one of the ones I'm a little more sketchy about but I still think he can coach. So I think he can work. We'll see how it goes. But that's your new man at Stanford, Tavita Pritchard. All right, next up, let's keep it in the state of California. Your new head coach of the Cal Golden Bears, Tosh Lupoi. I hope I said his name right. I hope I don't butcher it. Um, Justin Wilcox was let go after 9 years with a 48-55 record. Still got him to a bowl game, but he got fired. In comes Tosh Lupoi. He is the Oregon Ducks defensive coordinator. He will coach Oregon through the playoff at least. Now this cat, also a Cal guy. He played at Cal. He was a defensive lineman from 2000 to 2005. He was also the D-line coach there from 08 through 2011. He was a D-line coach at Washington for 2012 and 13. Then at Alabama, he went to Alabama in 2014 and was at Alabama for 2014 through 2018. He held different spots: defensive analyst, linebackers coach, defensive coordinator. Worked for the Cleveland Browns, the Atlanta Falcons, the Jaguars, and the NFL. That was in 2019 to 2021. And then in 2022 through 2025, this year, he's obviously been an Oregon defensive coordinator, linebackers coach. Has 2 national championships to his credit. And when he was at Bama, he's a Bay Area native. Like I said, we played at Cal. Knows the West Coast recruiting scene really, really well. He can build relationships there. He should do a good job. I think this is a good fit as long as Cal's another one that has financial struggles, and they're obviously the NIL has not been kind to them. But hey, look, they're still winning football games. They're still at least getting the bowl games. But Tosh is an up-and-coming coach. I think this is a good fit, and we'll see how it goes. All right, our final ACC job that changed. I think y'all know what job this is. Virginia Tech. Out goes Brent Pry with a 16-24 record. In comes James Franklin. This man is a winner. Now, obviously, against top 10 teams at Penn State, that's a different story. But he's a winner. He knows how to coach. At Vanderbilt, he went 24-15, had 3 bowl appearances, 2-1 record in those, 11-13 SEC record. The man took Vanderbilt to back-to-back 9-win seasons. Come on. And then at Penn State in 2014 through 2025, he went 104-45, 64-36 in the Big Ten, had a 2-1 record in the playoff. He had 5-5 bowl record. This man took Penn State to the semifinals last year. They were in the semifinals, and he still gets fired. I mean, come on. His total record as a coach, 128-60. He's also worked the I-95 area really well in recruiting, having been a coordinator or a position coach at Maryland, James Madison. So he knows that area really well. He's also worked at K-State and for the Green Bay Packers, Kutztown. But look, dude's a proven winner. He's a great coach. Yeah, he had his troubles against top 10 teams, but I think Penn State jumped the gun on firing him, but that's just my opinion. I think Virginia Tech scored a home run getting this man, and I think this is a great fit. I think it's going to do a great job there. And this is one I'm pretty confident on. But Virginia Tech gets James Franklin. This is going to be a good one to watch. So that is your ACC head coaching changes. All right, let's go to the Big Ten, shall we? Michigan State. This is one I did not see coming. Jonathan Smith was let go after a 9-15 record and 4-14 Big Ten record in 2 seasons. But look who's coming to town. Pat Fitzgerald. Welcome back. Obviously the legendary player at Northwestern and coach. He at Northwestern from 2006 to 2022, he took them to 10 bowl games, a 5-5 record, 2 Big Ten West Division championships, total record of 110 and 101. Dude was winning at Northwestern. He was also a grad assistant at Maryland and Colorado, and he's also coached at Northwestern too before he became the head coach. He was a DB coach, linebacking coach. He took over in 06 under sad circumstances when Randy Walker, who was their coach at the time, passed away. Pat took over and never looked back. It's a shame what happened when he was at Northwestern. Y'all know that hazing scandal situation. But he's getting a second chance, and it's in the right conference. So, I mean, this is the league we all expected him to come back to, I think. But Pat Fitzgerald, your new man at Michigan State. All right. Next up, let's do Penn State and UCLA. UCLA, in comes Bob Chesney. the James Madison coach. This cat, Deshaun Foster, was let go after a 5-10 record. And what really led to his demise was when UCLA got trounced by New Mexico. If you saw that game, it was really bad. In comes Bob Chesney. This cat is a winner. He's got James Madison in the playoff. He has coached at South Virginia University. They won a conference championship under him. He was 23-9 there. Then he coached at D2 Assumption, 44-16, 3 playoff appearances. At the FCS level, he was at Holy Cross from 2018 through 2023, compiled a 44-21 record, 28-4 in Patriot League play, 4 FCS playoff appearances, and then of course the last 2 years he's been at JMU. 21-5 for the Dukes, 12-4 Sun Belt record, won a bowl last year. This year, conference champions, taking them to the playoff. Really good coach. This is a little different fit because he's not a West Coast guy. A lot of people thought he might have a shot at the Penn State job, but this is a fresh restart for UCLA. So very interested to see where this goes with Bob Chesney. I think he's a good coach, though. Very excited to see what he can do at UCLA. All right, finally, our last one in the Big Ten. This is the most recent. Matt Campbell is your new head coach at Penn State. Out goes James Franklin. We just talked about him, obviously, with his 104-45 record. I still think Penn State jumped the gun firing him, but that's just my opinion. Matt Campbell is the new man here. Dude's another one that's a proven winner. He does a great job turning programs around. In 2011 through 2015, he was the head coach at Toledo. 35-15 record, 24-8 in the MAC. Won 2 MAC championships. I believe they won the MAC too. 2-1 in the bowl games. Then he goes to Iowa State in 2016, and then there from 2025. Phenomenal run for a program that doesn't have super high expectations. He goes 72-55, 50-40 in the Big 12, 2 Big 12 championship appearances, 7 bowl games. He's also worked on staff at Toledo, Bowling Green, and Mount Union. He's a Northeast Ohio native, knows the region really well for recruiting and talent evaluation. But I like this cat. It's about time he got a shot at a big-time program. I think everybody has been saying this. But welcome aboard Matt Campbell. He is your new head coach at Penn State. All right, next up, let's go, of course, to the Southeastern Conference. We're going to start with Kentucky. Your new head coach of the Kentucky Wildcats, Will Steen. He comes from Oregon, where he was the offensive coordinator. Mark Stoops is gone after a 72-80 record, 38-68 SEC record. He did have 2 10-win seasons, to his credit. But in comes Will Steen. He's been Oregon's offensive coordinator the last couple of years. He has coached Heisman finalist Bo Nix and Dylan Gabriel, top 10 offenses in 2 of his 3 years with the Ducks. He's also been a position coach and OC at other stops. He's been at UTSA, he's been at Texas, and he's been at Louisville. He's a Kentucky native from Louisville, played at Louisville, I believe, but has supposedly really wanted this job. So here you go. This is Kentucky's new man. And he also brings a fresh, brand new offensive vision to the Cats. And as we all know, Kentucky's needed help on offense for a long time. So this is your new man, Will Steen, the head coach of Kentucky. I'm very excited for this hire. I think this is going to be big for Kentucky, and we'll see how it goes. I think it could very well be a home run. All right, next up in the SEC, the new man in Fayetteville, Ryan Silverfield. He is the new head coach of the Arkansas Razorbacks. He's been a head coach for a little while now, but out goes Sam Pittman at 32-34. He was 14-29 in the SEC. To his credit, he did win all his bowl games. He was 3-0 at Arkansas. But in comes Ryan Silverfield from Memphis. He was at Memphis from 2019 through 2025. Had a 50-25 record, 27-21 conference, 7 bowl appearances. He went 4-1 in the bowls, and of course he won't be there for him in the Gasparilla Bowl in a couple of weeks. He's also coached and been a coordinator and an analyst previously at Memphis, the Detroit Lions, Arizona State, Toledo, the Minnesota Vikings, and UCF. Kind of a quiet guy. His winning's been kind of off notice, but he does face a tough battle here. Arkansas is a program, and their AD has come out and said they need more financial help. They need more resources to be more competitive in the SEC. So this could be a little bit of a tough uphill climb, but Silverfield will do the best with what he's got. And I just say give it time. Arkansas fans, I know some protested this, but give it time, Pigs. Give it a chance. He's a good coach. He's a winner, but we'll see how it goes. So I got to give him a shot. We'll see. Arkansas new head coach Ron Silverfield. All right, next up we got 4 more to go, and that'll be a wrap on this. Let's go to Auburn, Alabama. Your new head coach of the Auburn Tigers, Alex Golesh, coming over from South Florida. Hugh Freeze, of course, was let go at 15-19, 6-16 in the SEC. Alex Golesh comes in from South Florida, where he was 23-15, 14-10 in conference, 2-0 in bowl games, a 9-win season, a really good team this year. Almost made their championship game. Has SEC experience. He was an offensive coordinator, anyways, and tight ends coach at Tennessee in 2021-2022. Knows the SEC really well. Previous stops at UCF, Iowa State, Illinois, Toledo, Oklahoma State, Northern Illinois, and Ohio State. So he's been coaching at a lot of places as a coordinator or position coach. Great offensive mind too. South Florida was a really good offense this year under his leadership. He brings a fresh new perspective, another good restart for this program. I think Auburn fans are pretty excited to have him, and we'll see where it goes. Alex Golesh, your new head coach at the University of Auburn. All right, let's move on, shall we? We got 3 more. As an Ole Miss fan, this one, let's talk about Ole Miss's new coach. Pete Golden gets promoted. He comes up from defensive coordinator. Obviously, if you know by now, Lane Kiffin has moved on. He went to LSU at 55-19. Pete Golding is your new head coach. No head coaching experience, but he is promoted from defensive coordinator. He's been D coordinator and linebackers coach at Ole Miss for 2023 through this year. He also did the same job at Alabama in 2018 through 2022. He's also been a DC, DB's coach at some other programs. He's worked at UTSA, Southern Mississippi, Southeast Louisiana, Delta State, and Tusculum College. He's a great recruiter, knows how to get talent, well loved by the players, and he's already familiar with this program, obviously. We'll see what 2026 and beyond looks like for him, but how he handles this playoff run might be an early indication. Not sure if that's fair, but we'll see. First-time head coach, but he's in a really good position. He's already putting together a good staff for the future. Very well liked. It's about time he gets a chance as a head coach, though. So Pete Golding, your new head coach at Ole Miss. I'm excited as an Ole Miss fan. I'm ready to see what happens. Tidy. All right, next up, off to Florida. Your new head coach, John Summerall, the new coach of the Gators. Billy Napier is let go after a 22-23 record. He was 12-16 in the SEC. Just could not break through. John Summerall comes in from Tulane with a 20-7 record from 2024 through this year. He was 14-2 in the American. They won the AAC this past weekend. They are going to the playoff. He is a phenomenal coach. He's a winner. At Troy in 2022 and 2023, he had a 23-4 record at Troy, 14-2 in the Sun Belt, 2 Sun Belt titles and West Division titles. Guy is a winner everywhere he's been as a head coach. He's also been a D coordinator and has position coaching jobs in the past at Kentucky, Ole Miss, so he knows the SEC, Troy, Tulane, and San Diego. Knows the South all too well as far as the recruiting hotbeds. So, really good coach. I applaud Florida for taking this man and giving him a shot. I think he's going to do a great job there. I'm not predicting, but I think this is an excellent hire. So, shout out to the Florida Gators. John Summerall, your new head coach. All right, and finally, last but not least, pains me to talk about it, but I can't be biased. LSU's new head coach, Lane Kiffin. Brian Kelly is out after a 34-14 record at Baton Rouge, where he was 19-10 in the SEC, won a few bowl games and an SEC West title. In comes the offensive guru and quarterback builder Kiffin. At Ole Miss, he was 55-19, 32-17 in the SEC, won a few bowls, helped coach him to a playoff appearance this year. Will not be coaching in the playoff. You know that story. At Florida Atlantic in 2017 through 2019, he did a great job there. He was 26-13, 18-6 in Conference USA, won 2 CUSA titles and 2 East Division titles. He did a great job there in Boca Raton. He was the head coach at Tennessee in 2009. Y'all know that fiasco. He went 7-6. He was Alabama's OC and coordinators coach from 2014 through 2016. Previous coach at USC for a little bit, and he also coached at the Raiders. Like we say, offensive guru, can build relationships, but he also can destroy them. He's an offensive guru, develops quarterbacks. He's a really good coach. But you know what comes with this story. I'm not even going to get into it. It's just good luck LSU dealing with it. But he's a good football coach. Anyway, your new head coach at LSU, Lane Kiffin, I think it's a great hire for them. And it could reap big-time benefits, or it could crash and burn. Who knows? But he's a good coach. Great hire for LSU, Lane Kiffin. All right. So that is a wrap on that, as we put a wrap on some head coaching discussions. Before we get into game predictions, because we're going to do a couple of games. We're just going to do 3, but we'll discuss that in a minute. All right, so check this story out. This is from the University of Temple. They would like to clarify reports regarding its potential participation in postseason play. At no point did Temple decline a bowl invite. We received a call, this was Sunday afternoon, to discuss an invitation, and before we were able to discuss it with our staff, players, leadership, the opportunity was offered to another institution. We value the significance of bowl participation and disappointed for our players, fans, and university that the opportunity did not work out. So the story is the Birmingham Bowl needed to desperately find an opponent for Georgia Southern because you had teams opting out of bowls. You had Kansas State at 6-6 say no. Iowa State opted out at 8-4, which I thought was terrible. Both of them got fined $500,000 by the Big 12. Great call by the Big 12. And then, of course, you had Notre Dame whine and cry like a little girl and decided they weren't going to a bowl at 10-2 and robbed their players of a chance to play one more game. But it is what it is. So, anyway, they ended up finally getting Appalachian State to do it. So you're going to have 2 Sun Belt teams in the Birmingham Bowl. That's Appalachian State and Georgia Southern. But Temple says they never got an invite. So it's kind of fishy. Kind of makes you not trust the bowl process. So, but anyway, I thought that was kind of crazy. All right. So we're going to take one final break. And when we come back, we're going to do Army-Navy. We're going to do the LA Bowl, and we will do the Salute to Veterans Bowl. Those games are before next week's show. That's why we're going to do those couple. All right, guys, we're going to take a break. We will see you in just a minute.
Look at me, I'm lost at sea, circling eternally. Come and help me from this here sanity. Where am I disgrace? I hate to see your face. I wanna see you drown in your sorrow. You know I'm not the same. I'm fading away. I'm falling into my grave.
Hey, Vandy Chris. I see you just commented. I apologize. Let's see. Hey, guys, welcome back to 4th and 25. I got a couple of comments from a really good fella named Vandy Chris. I think there's more to the Notre Dame story. Hey, there might be. I ain't going to disagree with that. What I saw on Twitter today is Marcus Freeman. Oh, I'd seen where there was some NFL interest. Okay. Well, hey. Dang. That's, wow. The Giants need a coach. Okay. Interesting. Appreciate you sharing that, Vandy Chris. Oh, thank you, man. All right. So, let's roll on. Real quick, we're going to pick a couple of games. Of course, my favorite game of the year, Army-Navy, Saturday, 2 o'clock CBS. Navy is a 6-point favorite in this football game. Y'all see my shirt, of course. Go Navy, beat Army. I got to give Army credit, though. These uniforms are dope. Navies are cool, too, but I just went with this image. Oh. Did you see that the defensive lineman Daly is out for Indiana? Oh, no, I have not. I have not. Oh. See, I was not aware of that. Appreciate you sharing that. Good thing I ain't picking the quarterfinals right now. But yeah, thank you for sharing, man. I did not know that. Okay. Army Navy Saturday 2 o'clock on CBS. Navy's a 6-point favorite. Um, let's see. Scoring offense. Navy, of course, a little better. 32.5 points a game. Army's 23 points. Oh, got another comment. I'm cheering for Ben Franklin for Navy. Great guy. Interviewed him on the Golden Room. Oh, okay. Cool. Absolutely. That's awesome. As y'all know, these two teams do not throw the ball well. They're in the 130s. These are two of the top five rushing offenses. Navy number one, Army number five in rushing yards per game. Um, total offense, Navy's 24th. A little more balanced, but not a whole lot. And then Army's 110th. You look on the defensive side, Army a little stouter on defense. They're 56th in total defense. Navy's 92nd. Scoring defense, 47th for Army, 82 for Navy. Pass defense, you've got Army at 51. Navy is terrible against the pass, 124th at 255.5 a game allowed. Rush defense, obviously this will be a telltale. You got 63rd best Army and then 57th best Navy. Third down conversions on defense. Army's really bad on third down defense, 123rd, allowing a 44.9% conversion rate. Navy's offense is 12th at 49.6%. A conversion on third down offense. That's pretty good. Time of possession, they both eat the clock really well with their option or wing T offenses, as Navy's is called. Army number one in time of possession, 35 minutes and 16 seconds. You got Navy 17th at 32 minutes and 20 seconds. Army, the most disciplined team in the country, no shock. Number one in penalty yards per game, only 24.1. Navy's 70th, which is kind of surprising. Would never think a service academy would be that low at 54.8 penalty yards per game. So anyway, with that said, that's kind of a brief rundown. I got Navy. I think Navy wins this game. I think they're going to be just a little too much for Army to handle. Navy's the better offense. Blake Hervath is a tremendously good quarterback. Heidenreich is actually a good little receiver. Alex Texla, they've got some good playmakers. So I'm going to go with Navy to win this football game, of course. Give me Navy over Army. All right, next up, let's pick a couple of bowl games, shall we? And look, regardless of your views of the bowl games, that's fun. Free country. I'm still going to enjoy them no matter what. Saturday night at 7 o'clock my time, ABC. It is the LA Bowl. We've got Boise State against Washington. And by the way, I just realized I'm missing the Celebration Bowl. We'll get to that in a minute. LA Bowl, we got Boise State, Washington. Washington, a 9-point favorite according to this. I don't know what there is as far as any opt-outs or anything, so I'm just kind of going to play it as is. We've got the number 25 and number 39 total offenses. Scoring offense, we got Washington 22nd, Boise 40th. Excuse me, guys. Passing offense, both are in the 50s. Rush offense, Boise 32nd at 188.4 yards per game. I've got Washington 59th at 168.8 a game. Third down percentages, I've got Washington is 7th on third down conversion rate, 50.7. Boise's 22nd at 47%. Fourth downs, Washington 67th, Boise's 90th. Defense, both are in the top 40 in total defense. You got Washington 20th, allowing about 311.3 total yards a game. Boise's 38th at 336.5. Scoring defense, Washington's 21st, Boise's 53rd. Pass defense, Boise's 13th, Washington 50th. Rush defense, Huskies are 17th. So there's a good matchup. 17th best run defense of Washington. Boise's 32nd rush offense. Time of possession, Boise really good at keeping the ball. They're 8th at 33 minutes, 11 seconds. Washington 76th. In the red zone, Huskies offense is 13th best in the country, scoring on 92% of their trips. Boise's defense is bad in the red zone, 124th, allowing close to 91% scoring rate. Okay, so with that said, like I say, I don't know if anybody's opting out. I don't know what the situation is with the rosters fully, so I'm kind of swinging here. But I'm going to go with the betting favorite, and I think Washington, the little quarterback for Washington is pretty good. I think Washington wins this football game. I think they'll win it and set up themselves to maybe leapfrog to an even better next season. Who knows? We thought they might lose Jedd Fisch to Florida at one time, but I guess that did not happen. But I like Washington in this football game, so give me the Huskies to knock off Boise State. Okay, real quick, before we do the Salute to Veterans Bowl, I just realized I am missing the Celebration Bowl. Let me pull it up real quick. I've got a good graph. I got a graphic here if I can find it. I know where it is. I just got to upload it. There it is. Real quick. Now, I don't have a lot of stats or info on this game, but we will, out of respect, pick it. The Cricket Celebration Bowl. This game is at 11 a.m. my time in Atlanta on ABC. You got the MEAC champion South Carolina State and the SWAC champion Prairie View A&M. No quarterback for Prairie View put on a good show in the SWAC championship game. I'm kind of swinging here, but I'm going to go South Carolina State. Give me the Bulldogs to win this football game. Give me South Carolina State to win the Celebration Bowl. All right, final game. We're going to do the Salute to Veterans Bowl in Montgomery, Alabama. We've got Troy, the Sun Belt runner-up, and we've got Jacksonville State, the Conference USA runner-up. This game should have a really good crowd. I hope so. It should sell a lot of good tickets. There should be good turnout. This is two Alabama teams playing in Alabama. You've got Jacksonville State with the number 4 rushing offense in the country, averaging 258.2 yards per game. Scary stat here for Troy. They're 112th in run defense. They're allowing 182 a game. Jacksonville State running back Cam Cook can eat up yards. Really good running back. Offensively, Jacksonville State's 35th at 419.2 a game. Troy is bad, 123rd at 314.2 per game. Troy's actually favored. According to this sheet, it says Troy by 3.5. Then you look at third down conversions, both struggle. Troy 65th, Jacksonville State 82nd. Defense, total defense, Troy 75th, Jacksonville State 85th. Both are low in scoring defense. Pass defense, Troy's 37th, allowing only 198 a game, but Jacksonville State doesn't throw it that much. 160 yards a game, 121st. Jacksonville State's 107th in pass defense. Run defense, we touched on that. Troy's 112th. Jacksonville State 67th. So, scoring-wise, Troy's scoring 24.3 a game, which is 91st best, and Jacksonville State 59th at 29 points per game. Okay, so with that said, Troy looked kind of rough as the game went on against James Madison. They played well at first, but then James Madison just blew them out. I think Jacksonville State's the better team here. I'm going to actually go against the line here. I think Jacksonville State wins this football game. Give me Jacksonville State to win the Salute to Veterans Bowl. Okie dokie. So, with that said, I got Navy beating Army. I've got South Carolina State winning the Celebration Bowl. I've got Boise State in the not Boise State. I got Washington in the LA Bowl, and then finally I've got Jacksonville State in this Salute to Veterans Bowl. All right, man, good show today. Good show, good time. Just over an hour. Wasn't sure how long we was gonna go, but this is perfectly fine. Just over an hour. I am perfectly fine with that. Man, we've had good numbers today. I got over 20 plus views, 22 at one point. Thank you guys. I appreciate y'all for checking me out. Next week, we will do G5 head coaching changes. We've run down the Power 4s, you know. We'll do G5 next week. G6. I got to remember the Pac-12's coming back. G6 head coaching changes, thoughts. Of course, we're going to pick the playoff. We'll pick the 4 first-round games, and we'll have a buttload of bowl games we got to pick. And if there's any other news and notes worth mentioning, we'll discuss those as well. Thank y'all so much for checking me out. I announced yesterday, coming this summer, I'm going to go to 2 shows a week. I'm going to do 2 shows. I'm going to take this to Twitter or X. I'm going to try to get X going. I'm going to launch an Instagram. A TikTok is being worked on as I speak. So we're going to take this thing and see what we can do with it. All right, guys. Before we always leave, I want to give thanks to the Lord above because he makes this all possible. Isaiah 7:14, therefore the Lord himself shall give you a son. Behold, a virgin shall conceive and bear a son, and shall call his name Emmanuel. Amen. All right, guys. Thank y'all so much for watching. I appreciate y'all checking me out. I'm gonna get out of here. I gotta go move some furniture. Hope y'all have a wonderful day. Stay safe out there. Please take care of yourselves, and may God bless you.